There are moments in life when we imagine the blessings of God as far-off treasures, locked away in some distant country where only the strong, the holy, or the extraordinary may go to claim them. We wait and we hope, and we tell ourselves that perhaps one day, when the timing is right, when we are better, when the world finally makes sense, God will open his hand and give us something worth holding. But the great mistake is to think that God's blessings are locked in tomorrow, when so many of them are already quietly placed in today. The blessing God has for you is not a dream deferred, nor is it hidden on some unreachable mountain. It is woven into the very fabric of your journey. Often it is closer than you think, because the God who made the stars does not bless you with distance but with nearness. He does not simply point to a horizon and say, "One day, if you walk far enough, you will find me there." No, he steps into your present, into the ordinary, and whispers, "I am here, I have already begun." We imagine blessings as thunderclaps, dramatic, unmistakable, undeniable. Yet the greatest blessings are often as soft as morning light slipping between your curtains, unnoticed until you pause to see it. The friend who encourages you when despair is at your door, the strength you find to rise again after falling. The quiet stirring of peace when chaos should have ruled your heart. These are not accidents. These are blessings that stand closer than your very breath. And sometimes the blessing that is closest is not a thing given, but a change awakened. God is less interested in merely handing you gifts than in making you into someone who can bear them well. So the trials, the delays, the disappointments, they may themselves be blessings dressed in a harder garment. They are not denials but preparations. The sculptor must carve before the statue stands in glory. The gardener must prune before the rose can bloom. If you believe the blessing is far away, you may spend your life searching for what is already at hand. But if you open your eyes, you may discover that the blessing you longed for is already unfolding in ways too subtle for hurried hearts to notice. What you see as waiting, God sees as weaving. What you see as lack, he sees as shaping. And what you thought would come in some distant tomorrow may, in truth, already be rising around you like dawn. So do not despair if you cannot yet see the fullness of what God has promised. You are nearer than you know. His blessings do not run from you, they meet you, and while you may believe you are still on the road toward them, perhaps it is more true that they are already walking toward you. God's blessings are often nearer than we imagine, already present in our daily lives. God's blessings are often nearer than we imagine, already present in our daily lives. We are so accustomed to measuring life by what we lack that we miss what we already hold in our hands. Many people live as though the blessings of God are some distant reward waiting at the end of a long road, but in truth, blessings often come quietly, tucked into ordinary days. The simple ability to breathe, to wake each morning, to see the faces of those we love. These are blessings so familiar that we overlook them. We hunger for miracles while failing to recognize that existence itself is a miracle. The world is alive with the fingerprints of God, yet we train our eyes only on what is missing rather than what is present. There is a subtle deception that blessings must be grand to be real, that only the spectacular counts as divine favor, when in reality the nearness of God's goodness is written in the smallest details of life. The kindness of a stranger, the strength to endure one more day, the sudden spark of hope when darkness felt endless. These are not coincidences, but reminders that God's hand is never far. Even our struggles, though painful, often conceal hidden blessings, shaping us in ways we cannot yet see. We imagine that God will bless us only when circumstances change, but often he is blessing us within the very circumstances we long to escape. The blessing is not always something new that enters our life, but an awakening to what is already there. To see this requires a slower pace, a listening heart, a willingness to believe that God has not abandoned the present moment. When we begin to notice these nearnesses, gratitude awakens, and gratitude itself becomes another blessing. It transforms how we see, how we live, and how we trust, revealing that the distance between us and God's goodness was never as great as we believed too. The greatest blessings are not always dramatic, but often quiet and easily overlooked. The greatest blessings are not always dramatic, but often quiet and easily overlooked. Many people wait for blessings to arrive with thunder and lightning, expecting them to be grand moments that shift the course of their lives in an instant. Yet, the truth is that blessings often come softly, in whispers rather than shouts, in moments that appear ordinary at first glance. A blessing can be as simple as a word of encouragement spoken when you were ready to give up, or the unexpected peace that settles into your heart during a storm you thought would drown you. It can be the steady provision of daily bread, never running over in excess, but never allowing you to go without. Such blessings rarely draw attention, and because they do not dazzle, they are missed by eyes trained only to see the extraordinary. The quiet nature of these blessings reveals something profound about the way God works. He is not merely interested in spectacle, he is interested in presence. He chooses to enter the unnoticed spaces of life, to show that his love is not limited to mountaintop experiences, but flows steadily through valleys and fields. The air you breathe, the health that sustains you, the chance encounters that alter your path for the better, these are blessings so gentle that unless you slow down, you might walk past them without ever realizing their worth. The small kindness that lifts your spirit, the smile that breaks through your sorrow, the strength to stand again after falling, these are not lesser blessings, but often the very ones that shape your character and carry you through seasons when you thought you had nothing. If blessings always came as grand events, they might inspire awe for a moment, but not teach the depth of gratitude that grows when we see God's hand in the smallest places. The subtle blessings refine us, reminding us that we do not live by great victories alone, but by daily grace that sustains us in ways too gentle for hurried hearts to notice. 3 delays and trials may themselves be blessings in disguise, preparing us for more. Delays and trials may themselves be blessings in disguise, preparing us for more. It is human nature to resist waiting, to see obstacles as interruptions, and to view suffering as evidence of abandonment. Yet, so often what we call delay is actually the slow work of preparation, shaping us into vessels strong enough to carry the very blessings we have been asking for. A gift given too soon can become a burden, and a door opened before its time can harm more than it helps. Trials become the furnace in which faith is purified, patience is deepened, and character is formed. In the heat of difficulty, we learn endurance, and endurance produces maturity that no shortcut could ever give. What feels like loss is sometimes God making room for something greater. What feels like unanswered prayer is often an answer wrapped in timing we do not yet understand. Consider how a seed must be buried in the dark before it can sprout, or how gold must pass through fire before it shines. In the same way, our delays are not denials but stages of transformation. Each challenge teaches us to trust more fully, to release control, to recognize that strength is not built in ease but in resistance. The blessing is not absent in these seasons. It is hidden in the process itself, working in silence to prepare us for what we could not yet bear. If we only measure blessings by comfort and ease, we will miss the refining power that trials carry. Every hardship endured with faith becomes a teacher, every waiting period becomes a preparation ground, and every closed door becomes a guide steering us toward the right one. What appears as delay from our perspective may, in the eyes of God, be the precise moment of shaping, ensuring that when the blessing does arrive, it will not destroy us but complete us, for we miss blessings when we only look to the future instead of noticing the present. We miss blessings when we only look to the future instead of noticing the present. The human heart has a tendency to live in tomorrow, always waiting for some perfect moment, some breakthrough, some change that will finally make life feel complete. While looking ahead has its place, it often blinds us to the quiet treasures scattered across today. We convince ourselves that happiness lies in what is not yet, forgetting that today is already filled with grace waiting to be seen. The blessing of waking up with breath in your lungs, the ability to see the sky, to hear a voice, to share a meal, or to stand on your own 2 feet are wonders that pass unnoticed when the mind is fixed only on the horizon. When we place all our hope in the future, we risk missing the gifts hidden in the ordinary rhythm of life. The present moment is where God meets us, not merely in grand events, but in the steady flow of time we call daily life. Gratitude grows not by receiving more, but by awakening to what already is. When the heart is constantly restless for what has not yet come, contentment becomes impossible, and every blessing already given feels insufficient. Yet when we begin to see the present as holy ground, we find that life is already rich with provision, already lined with mercies that renew every morning. The danger of always looking forward is that it creates a perpetual sense of delay, a belief that joy and fulfillment are always one step away, never here. In truth, the present is the only place we can experience God's goodness, the only space where love can be given, peace can be felt, and blessings can be received. To awaken to this is to realize that waiting for life to begin is unnecessary, for life is already unfolding, and the hand of God is already at work in the very hour we are living. God's blessings are not distant treasures. They walk toward us as we walk toward Him. God's blessings are not distant treasures. They walk toward us as we walk toward Him. Too often we think of His goodness as something far away, locked in a future moment that we must strive endlessly to reach. Yet the truth is that blessings are alive, moving, and meeting us along the way. They are not static prizes waiting at the finish line, but living gifts that come closer as our steps align with faith and trust. Every act of obedience, every surrender, every moment we turn our face toward God, we find that His hand has already stretched toward us. It is not that we must run 1,000 miles before finding His favor, but that His favor has been following us, drawing nearer with every faithful step. This is the mystery of divine nearness, that blessings are not simply rewards for reaching a destination, but companions on the journey itself. We imagine the road to be barren until the end, yet often it is lined with mercies we fail to notice because our eyes are fixed only on the future. The blessing is in the strength to keep walking, in the guidance that prevents us from stumbling, in the unseen protection that shields us from harm we never knew approached. It is in the opportunities that open at the right time, the wisdom whispered when confusion threatens, the comfort that descends when the path feels too heavy to bear. These are not far off miracles, but present companions walking step by step with us. As we move toward God, His blessings move toward us, and somewhere along the way, we realize that what we thought was distant has already drawn near. The meeting place of God's blessing is not a faraway horizon, but the very path we tread with Him, where heaven and earth seem to touch in the quiet unfolding of His presence.